Hey, welcome to my office. Today I'm going to talk about Puerh tea. So Puerh tea is a black tea that's aged and fermented, and it's associated with really interesting metabolic effects in mice and humans. So basically it's associated with being leaner. So in one study they gave mice a high-fat diet and they gave another group of mice a high-fat diet with the tea. The mice who were given the high-fat diet with the tea had an increase in the expression of fat-burning enzymes and a decrease in the expression of fat storage enzymes. So we can see here that the mice had a decrease in their SCD1 levels. SCD1 is steryl-CoA desaturase, and this enzyme is responsible for turning saturated fats into monounsaturated fats for storage and is highly associated with obesity. So people who are obese tend to have much higher levels of SCD1, and animals who have impaired SCD1 or low levels of SCD1 have a harder time gaining weight because they can't really, because this is like the rate limiting enzyme for fat storage basically. You can also see that genes for beta oxidation, which is like fat burning, are increased in the mice fed the tea. Here we can see that the body weight of the mice with the tea did not really change much over controls. They were basically eating the standard American diet but not gaining weight. Their liver weight did not really change too much either, so they weren't really getting fatty liver either. And we can see that their fat cells remain small. Here's another study that shows downregulation of SCD1 in worms, and you can see as the worms are given more of the tea, the amount of fat that they have there and the number of their fat droplets is decreasing. So with the tea, the worms were not able to store fat as well. And this is another study in humans where they gave people tea with no dietary changes, and over 20 weeks the group that got the tea did have a decrease in BMI. Another study showed that the tea decreased hepatic fatty acid synthesis and lipid accumulation in the liver. Mice who got the tea had a reduced amount of fat accumulation in the liver. Another study shows significant increase in UCP1 for mice given tea extract. UCP1 is uncoupling protein, and it's associated with fat burning and thermogenesis. An increase in UCP1 leads to beiging of fat cells, and that basically means that the fat cells are developing more mitochondria, and they're able to burn energy more, and they tend to burn energy more for heat and thermogenesis. So we can see here that the fat of these mice went from just being regular white fat to becoming beige with more mitochondria. Also, the fat cells are smaller and not as filled with fat after being treated with the tea. There are tons of studies about how green tea and green tea extract, ECGC, is really good for you. The problem I have with green tea is that I do a lot of intermittent fasting, and I cannot take green tea or even like the pill form of green tea on an empty stomach at all. I have to have a pretty substantial amount of food, like more than a snack, to be able to take a green tea capsule or drink green tea without having nausea. However, this does not seem to be true with this Puerh black tea. I can drink this black tea on an empty stomach, so if anybody's having problems with green tea causing nausea, especially on an empty stomach, you should try this black tea. It might work for you. In short, Puerh tea upregulates fat burning, decreases fat storage, and is associated with being leaner. It does this largely by downregulating SCD1. If you're buying this tea, just make sure that you buy the ripe and the fermented versus the raw version. That's all for today.